I wrote an article in the New York Times last week, and it was about the Angelina Jolie case. Angelina Jolie had a test that showed that she had an 85% chance of breast cancer and a 50% chance of ovarian cancer, and based on that, she had surgery to remove her breasts and will have surgery for her ovaries. And what I wrote was, in the 1990s, 1995, the government spent tens of millions of dollars to identify this faulty gene, and it would license to a company. This company then goes and charges $4,500 for the test. They have a monopoly. They can charge whatever they want. I can go and do the test in my laboratory for less than $100, yet they charge over $4,000. Every woman in the world is handicapped. She can't look at her own DNA because of the patents that this company held. Well, last Thursday, the United States Supreme Court said you can no longer patent human genes. The US Supreme Court has democratized our own DNA and allowed us, all of us, to use it. This will herald a new form of healthcare. This will herald a new form of awareness of each of us, of ourselves. Each of us now have the ability, for a small amount of money, to actually look at our own DNA and know much of our future. For $100, you can spit into a tube and know about 40 diseases and your likelihood of getting them. Most of them are not deterministic. They don't just happen. You can control most of your risk, whether through your behavior or through medications. And so it puts you in charge. But if you're in front of two Chinese restaurants and look at the ingredient list, they're exactly the same. You taste the food, one could be great and one could be bad. Well, DNA is your ingredient list. Protein is what the food tastes like. Remember, 1995, if a woman thought she was pregnant, 1975, a woman thought she was pregnant, we took a tube of blood, we injected a rabbit. 5 days later, we sacrificed the rabbit. If the rabbit's ovaries were enlarged, you were pregnant. That was the state of the art in 1975. 1976, along comes a $9 binary test. Yes, no, you were pregnant or not. Rabbits of the world rejoiced. And at the same time, we dramatically changed maternal health and neonatal health. And for the first time, this technology can look at the conversation happening in your body. Remember, your body is talking to you all the time. We just have never listened. We now have the ability to listen. So when we talk about healthcare in the future, it's going to be listening, whether it be taking your own information or using technology to look at that. The next field of growth is going to be the microbiome. In that, each of us have 10-fold more bacteria in our bodies than we do cells in the bodies. These bacteria control our metabolism, our hormone level, our risk for disease. And for the first time ever, we can look at them. You know, the risk of breast cancer and prostate cancer in China is 1/10 that it is in Israel in the United States. If someone from China moves to this country, their risk starts to approach the risk of this country after 10 years. And we always thought it was the Burger King and McDonald's. It turns out it's not. It's that they adopt our bacteria. And going forward, we're going to be able to change them. But also, I want you to remember that the global landscape is changing. 2005, in the United States, at a small town in Minnesota, a young girl went swimming in a lake. She was 11 years old. She died 3 days later of a disease called amoebic meningoencephalitis. Well, this bug that caused her disease hadn't been seen within 800 miles as north as Minnesota. And what happens is, if a lake is 70 degrees and above for 5 successive days, this bug can grow. And with global climate change happening, diseases are changing. With global change happening, we are changing, and we need to be aware of it. The last aspect I want to just mention about the future is food. This is the first year since World War II there's not enough food to go around in the world. We have used classically genetic technologies to make GMO, or genetically modified food, all about calories per acre. And we did so through companies who said, you buy our seed, that will allow it to grow and be drought resistant. You got to use our insecticide and our pesticide. Nobody cared about health. And so what happened is these countries that started to use these seeds, you started to see a big surge in non-communicable diseases like cancer and heart disease and others. We have the technology and the ability to change food actually toward health. And at the same time do something that we have no choice but to do, which is use this genetically modified food because of our changing climate. In areas of the world that had grown food, they can no longer do so. And certainly Israel is one of the world's leaders, if not the world's leader, in doing this. And they've been able to grow food in parts of the world that the rest of the world looked at and just shook their head. And you should clap. It is a remarkable technology they developed, but it's now time to scale it. And to scale it based not just on calories per acre, but based on human health. The future of health is optimistic, but the future of health resides within each of us to start to make a change. And that change is going to require all of us to be in charge of our own health. Malcolm Gladwell wrote an amazing book called Blink, and he described 10 Rembrandt experts in a room, and he put 10 paintings on the wall, and they would go real, real, fake, real, real, and they identified the forgery. And he asked why. None of them could say why. The human brain has an amazing ability of looking at things, and we don't always know why it makes its decisions. Well, for fortunately or unfortunately, medicine is the same. It is an art. The role of technology going forward will be to make it a science. And I thank you very much.